All right, everybody. This story, if true, because I have not looked deep enough into it to know if it's not being exaggerated or not, if this is true, this story might be the start of things getting really bad in Trump's America. It's no surprise, but the right has decided trans people are going to be the main culture war target of their movement. And the most popular talking point they were able to create a wedge issue on was the idea of trans people in sports. It was the perfect confluence of the average American voter's lack of education on trans issues, their commitment to a particular sport or hobby, and its supposed integrity. And it was just this perfect and obviously trans people, something that a lot of people kind of feel a little iffy about in the first place because it's strange and foreign to them, right? They don't understand it. And you combine these factors, and the idea of trans women in particular competing in sports does tend to elicit a pretty negative reaction from an unfortunately large amount of Americans. And so the right hardcore pushed the trans topic as one of their biggest wedge issues. And now, holding immense amounts of power, apparently they are imposing it on trans people. Now, we've known about some pretty authoritarian laws that have overreached in taking away the rights of trans people ever since Trump took office, and even before that in red states. But now, according to this story, it's getting a lot worse. Apparently, a woman in Florida was arrested for being transgender. I don't know the details of this story. I very much want to find out. I've got a video here, in fact, made by a YouTuber named Leah Pasaniti. I'll have a link down below in the description to the original video at the top of the description, of course, if you want to go check it out. But apparently, she, according to Lancer, broke Florida law. Maybe one of the, insane, you're not allowed to go in the bathroom, you're not allowed to be in public and trans type laws. And that's why she was arrested. Regardless, though, we'll find out what the deal is. I have no idea what happened with this story. I have purposefully not spoiled myself because if this pisses me off, I want you guys to see my genuine, angry reaction on stream. So let's check it out. Make sure to check out the original video as well. Send a like, drop a comment, all that stuff.
Why hello there, and welcome to this video. Throughout the course of history, and in the fight for civil rights, civil disobedience has been a powerful tool to protest unjust or discriminatory laws. We've seen it used many times over in an effort to point out the cruel, unfair, or harmful nature of laws that target minority groups. But unfortunately, this is not just a thing of the past. This is not just something we used to do. Civil disobedience is an important tool for us today, here in 2025, in our fight for our rights. Today, I have a really important story that I want to cover. We really need to spread awareness of what has happened here, because if no one hears about this, then it's a sacrifice made in vain, and that would be so horrible. So I really do think that this is important. If you stick around and watch the video, that's great, but try to spread this to other people. Try to send this to some friends. Try to send this to other people that are not aware of what happened here in this situation, because this is vitally important. Okay, so here we are, and here's the article. Of course, we're using Erin in the Morning as a source for this, and I just wanted to say I didn't really notice this. I've used her articles in the past, and she hosts this website, but there are sometimes guest authors, and I really did not notice that. I thought all of this was written by Erin. That's not true, so I just wanted to say sorry if I, didn't properly shout out the authors of these.
Oh, I forgot. Okay, so for those that don't know, Florida passed a law making it illegal as a trans person to use the bathroom that you identify with specifically on government property. I don't know if this included schools and whatnot, but I think it was in particular courthouse buildings, capitol buildings, city halls, that kind of thing. You're not allowed to be trans and use the bathroom of your choice in that type of building. And that was their taking an inch policy, When it comes to taking away the rights of minorities, it's always take an inch and then a mile, right? And so that was their inch. This is the start of their mile, I think.
Articles, my bad. But here is the title of the article: Trans woman arrested, sent to men's jail for entering Florida Capitol bathroom. I'm not a political activist, she maintained. I'm just a normal college student who thinks this law is wrong. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and just jump right into the article. When 20-year-old college student Marcy, I don't know how to say her last name, Ranken or something like that, made her yearly spring break trip to her grandparents' property in Florida, she said that she felt at peace. Until March 19, when police escorted her out of the bathroom of the state capitol building and placed her in handcuffs. Evidently, Ranken had violated a 2023 2003 state law criminalizing trans people who use government-owned public restrooms that aligned with their gender. Tampa Bay...
That's kind of crazy, because that's her, right? If that's her, how the fuck did the cops know she was trans? Was she standing up? Dude, imagine that. That's how, like, the cops, like, a woman reports she said she was trans. Her voice, maybe? Oh, yeah, maybe her voice. Maybe she said she was trans. She told them. Oh, she told them she was trans. She announced it before showing up. Oh, so this was like a form of protest. She was trying to get arrested for this, to show, like, this is what it's like now. This is real. Florida schools do count? Okay.
Criminalizing trans people who use government-owned public restrooms that aligned with their gender. Tampa Bay Times reporter Rami Ellenbogen accompanied Ranken to the Capitol. When they arrived, several officers were stationed outside the women's restroom doors. They warned her not to enter the women's restroom. Draped in a white frilly dress and in a pink bow, Ranken went in anyway and washed her hands. That's when police entered the restroom and told Ranken she was being detained. A devout Catholic, she had wanted to take a moment to pray the rosary, but she never got the chance. After spending less than 60 seconds in the women's restroom, Ranken said she was charged with trespassing with a warning. Meanwhile, her rosary was confiscated as an officer from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement handcuffed and...
It's just so blatantly dystopian, man. Like, it's just, it's so fucking, it's so dystopian. Like, yes, it was against the law, but the law's fucked. And if you disagree with me on that, then why the fuck should anyone have to go to jail because they went to the bathroom, washed their hands, and hurt no one? Why should that be a crime? The same people who think that we should not touch any legislation having to do with gun ownership to try and make it a little more safe, you know, those same people are the ones who think you should go to jail if you enter a restroom as the wrong gender, quote unquote, and commit no crimes. Or I should say, you hurt no one. You damage nothing. You take nothing. You disturb nothing. There's no harm done to warrant a punishment. The only reason why there is a punishment is to please bigots. And history will not remember this in any other way, to be very clear. Conservatives can argue otherwise now as much as they like. The culture war is one thing, but look, in history, things will be remembered very differently.
Detained Ranken, searched her person and her vehicle, and shuttled her to the Leon County Detention Facility, where she stayed overnight in the men's ward. If convicted, she could spend up to 60 days incarcerated in a men's facility. The FDLE did not respond to a request for comment. About a week before her trek, she sent about 160 print letters to Florida lawmakers announcing she would engage in the time-honored practice of civil disobedience. She would use the women's restroom at the Florida State Capitol. She named her...
And this is the point of civil disobedience, by the way. The idea is that you do something illegal that was made illegal for no other reason than to oppress a particular group of people, and you hurt no one, and you disturb nothing. You sit there, or you casually do your thing, you show the fact and demonstrate the fact of what is happening on a wide scale. There are people, part of minority group, casually going about their lives, who just want to be respected and to be able to live their lives and have rights like anyone else. And meanwhile, you have conservatives endlessly hounding them and screaming at them derangedly while telling everyone watching that it is the trans person who's crazy. It's the minority who's crazy. So to demonstrate this in a more witnessable way, an anecdotal way, the point of civil disobedience, like a sit-in, for instance, is to literally demonstrate, here we are, sitting, doing nothing, hurting no one, stealing nothing, damaging nothing, and all these racists or transphobes are screaming and crying and calling the cops and having meltdowns like we're hurting people. These are the people who enforce these laws. These are the people who support these laws. And this is the reality of our existence in this country. That is what I love about civil disobedience protests. Not because of some sort of like principle of being civil, but because as a sake of demonstration, it shows people just how deranged the oppressors are. That if you just sit there casually, they will have a meltdown and they will make themselves look foolish. And I feel like that's a powerful display. And that's what this trans woman has done. She has hurt no one, done nothing wrong, but demonstrated why a law exists, and it's for no other reason than to make those who are obsessed with her existence have the power to put her in jail for existing.
Her date and time. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the letter that she wrote here. She said, "Hi, my name is Marcy Ranken. I'm a 20-year-old college student, and I'm writing this letter to tell you that I'm going to break the law. On March 19th at around 3 p.m., I intend to use the women's bathroom on the second floor of the Capitol building across from room 222C. I know that as a transgender woman, this means I will probably be arrested. I am violating this law because I personally believe it to be wrong. I don't work for, and I'm not associated with any major political or media organizations. I'm not a political activist. I'm not an influencer. I'm just a normal college student who thinks this law is wrong. Enclosed is a photo of me to identify me if you wish to arrest me. I understand that I could go to jail for up to 60 days in a men's prison where, if the statistics are true, which they are, I would likely be raped. Going to jail would uproot my life and give me a criminal record. I understand that if you're receiving this letter, you are part of the Florida bicameral legislature, which means you're probably one of the people who wrote this law or voted for it. I know that you know in your heart that this law is wrong and unjust. I know that you know in your heart that it's wrong to arrest me and jail me for 60 days for simply using the bathroom. I know that you know in your heart that transgender people are human too, and you can't arrest us away. I know that you know in your heart that transgender people are no different from you or anybody else. I know that you know in your heart that the same people that go to church with you, eat in the same restaurants, go to the same schools, root for the same sports teams, watch the same movies, and pray to the same God as you cannot be all bad. I know that you know that I have dignity. That's why I know you won't arrest me. Pray for me, Marcy Ranken." And then, so the article goes on down here below to say, "I'm a really religious person," she told Aaron in the morning. "She's a devout Catholic who describes herself as a political centrist with an appreciation for family values, but a soft spot for Dorothy Day, the prolific Catholic left-wing activist. At police have it."
This is a really, I think, telling thing. Because, like, this doesn't, based on what she's saying, she's not like a hyper-lefty, like, protester, college kid, activist trans person, right? She is like a hyper-religious, Catholic, rosary-wearing trans, because, like, being trans does not have any boundary on politics. Like, Blair White, for instance, is no less trans because of her beliefs. Like, her crazy-ass beliefs internally have to be created for her to justify her own transness and to be politically against transness, right? There are Christian Catholic trans people, and even more commonly, Christian Catholic conservative gender dysphoric people. And so there are if there are people out there who are trans and not super left-wing, they're Christian, they're kind of normie centrist, not super political, and they're pissed off about the state of politics right now because they're being affected, that goes to show that there is some level of nonpartisan anger already over the state of the country. And that's what we're hoping for. Nonpartisan anger. Right now, or I should say for a while, like, the reaction to the election, or the negative reaction to the election, was pretty partisan, mostly just the left. Now we're really starting to see non-progressives start to get upset, which is a first in this current administration. The far left would say either she is a really super lefty or non-representative of reality. I don't know about what the far left would say, nor do I care. But I just think it's really powerful that, like, a relative normie is doing something like this to protest. That's, I would say, a pretty big sign.
Affidavit she shared with Aaron in the morning with her dead name blurred out below and the wrong pronouns listed otherwise corroborates most all of her story. So I'm going to read this affidavit right here, but I'm going to correct the pronoun usage, so I'm not going to misgender Marcy. But just keep in mind that, like, in this affidavit, every time I use she, her pronouns, they did not do that. They definitely misgendered, and they dead named her, which is, you know, super terrible. On Wednesday, March 19th, 2025, at approximately 3 p.m., Officer Weber made contact with Marcy Ranken on the second floor of the House Office Building on the Florida State Capitol. Ranken had previously sent a letter, which was received by FDLE Capitol Police, explaining that she would be coming to the Capitol to use the women's restroom across from the House Room 222C, intending to break the law as a transgender woman, which they put in quotes, entering the women's restroom. Officer Weber and Investigator Tharp made contact just outside the women's women's restroom on floor 2 of the House office building and advised that Capitol Police had received the letter and informed Rankin that she was not allowed in the women's restroom and would be given a...
It's so crazy how they waited for her there with cops, like, ready to arrest her the second she walked into the restroom for her protests. Like, they really were just, like, out to get a trans person.
Trespass warning if she entered. Rankin acknowledged
they wanted an
warning,
example.
I'm here to break the law, and proceeded to enter the women's restroom. Officer Weber entered the restroom and advised Rankin was being issued a trespass warning for all women's restrooms in the Capitol Tower and the House office building. Rankin explained that she did not agree with the law and did not want to leave. Officer Weber explained that Rankin would be subject to arrest if she did not leave, and Rankin acknowledged it, saying, okay. Rankin was escorted to P level and placed under arrest for trespass after warning due to not meeting the criteria for a notice to appear. Officer Weber handcuffed Rankin and searched her person and transport vehicle before transporting to the Leon County detention facility. Now, interestingly, here in this affidavit, they make no mention of her, requesting to have a moment to pray and them denying that. So I feel like this is a watered down, sterilized version of events that is an attempt to try to make the officers seem more reasonable or whatever. Rankin's telling is also corroborated by reports from the Tampa Bay Times journalist who accompanied Rankin to the bathroom. I actually wanted to move to Florida when I was older, growing up, but I don't know if I can do that now, she said. She fondly remembers her favorite beaches and the bologna sandwiches with her grandparents, but now it seems her home away from home isn't safe for her. I don't want attention. I just want people to...
It really does suck, because as much as I say a lot of bad stuff about the state of Florida, I grew up there and have a lot of fond memories and fond favorite spots there. And the fact that the state as a whole has been so horrifically tainted by, like, everything to do with Trump and the Republican Party is so awful. Like, you really cannot go 500 feet in Florida without seeing a Trump flag. Especially when you're in most of the state, which is the rural parts. If you see a house in a rural area, not only will they have a Trump flag or a Trump sign, they might have, like, when you go in the really rural parts of the country and you see the giant anti-abortion billboards, those are privately owned billboards more often than not. Like, Christian farmers or ranchers will order, like, contractors to come build a big-ass billboard on the edge of their, like, pasture right up against the road on the other side of their fence, and they'll build a massive, like, anti-abortion message. When you go up through the rural parts of Florida and stuff, you will see signs like that, like billboard-sized signs that are either like, Hillary lied, people died, what happened in Benghazi, or Trump 2024, Trump 2028, Trump, and then it goes on, 2032, it just keeps going, like they just admitting they want Trump forever. You will see not just signs, flags, and banners, but billboards. It's so tainted by these people.
See this law and how crazy it is to put people like us in jail. I was so terrified, she said. She admits that she hadn't consulted legal or advocacy organizations before the endeavor. She didn't know what to expect. They were treating me like I murdered someone, but I just used the quote-unquote wrong bathroom. Now, of course, it's not the wrong bathroom. That's the whole point. Rankin said she was motivated to act after seeing the anti-trans legislation surge throughout the United States, and when she read about Hunter Schafer, the Euphoria actress who was issued a male passport despite being a woman. She's a personal hero of mine, Rankin said. The fear and the vitriol she saw play out over the news cycle brought her to a breaking point. While bills like bathroom bans and drag bans have been sweeping the country in recent years, the criminalization of gender diverse people is by no means new. Black and brown trans women especially have been routinely criminalized for decades under the guise of solicitation or loitering ordinances, even in so-called liberal strongholds like New York. The phenomenon is so pervasive that it has been dubbed the walking while trans ban. John Harris Maurer, public policy director of Equality Florida, emphasized that the bathroom bans are just the latest attempt by the state's GOP to eradicate trans people from public life. These are hardworking, tax-paying individuals who are our family, neighbors, and colleagues, he told Aaron in the Morning. Weaponizing bathroom access in a place like the state capitol is an anti-democratic effort to block them from directly participating in government while simultaneously stripping their rights behind closed doors. Now that's a really poignant statement right there. So the first thing that I want to...
It's so dystopian, but I'm glad this protest happened. I really wish she hadn't... It's hard to say if I wish she'd done it or not. I want to say I wish she hadn't, because that is a woman going into a men's jail. That's not a good situation to be in. As much as conservatives try to make you think that, like, the trans women going into jails are, like, I don't know, like, they would say Emaine Khalef, who is a cis woman that they claim is trans. They would try to, like, say, they look super masculine anyway. No one would want to do anything. But, like, the reality is a lot of trans women that go to jail, like, just imagine a cis woman being put in a men's jail or men's prison. That is what they're doing, essentially. Like, we know how bad the jails and prisons are. We know how pervasive rape is. If you're gay in jail or prison, apparently you're a massive target for rape and sexual assault. It's extremely common. And so being an extremely passing trans woman in prison, in a men's prison, they damn well know it's a death sentence. They damn well know it's a death sentence. And I would not be surprised if this girl went into this protest going to jail knowing that if she went to jail, there's a chance she might not survive. Knowing that if it took her death to get this attention and awareness out there, I think she knowingly went into this aware that that is a possibility and willing to accept that possibility if it happens. And that's brave as fuck. She wrote that she might get that she said she will get essayed if she goes to jail. Not that she might, that she will, statistically. And I'm pretty sure, even though she didn't say it, she's fully aware that she could not survive these 60 days. There's a chance she could die or be killed, I should say. And I think she's gone into this knowing that's a possibility and accepting that as a possibility. And I think that is probably the most brave thing about this story. It's also extremely depressing. She's a hero. I'd say she's very heroic for this. I'm curious what the comments are on this video. Actually, I'm curious what the newest comments are. Are there, like, chuds? Oh, yeah, there are. I'm happy about the law. Just think this because you want to be trans. If you have a child girl and she's in the bathroom, then you see a 58-year-old man in a woman's restroom. How would you feel? I would be pissed. They should go to jail. I'm gonna be honest, and I hate being so pessimistic, but this self-sacrifice was absolutely pointless. We need to start organizing and peacefully. I'm here to boost engagement. Thank you for sharing. A lot of people have been arrested for women's bathrooms. It was a cis woman posting this story on Instagram. Marcy got exactly what they wanted. Oh, wow. Marcy got exactly what they wanted. A narcissist seeking attention as just being a trans woman is now too common to be special. Marcy set up an X account just to milk the attention. It all seems so obvious that I'm waiting for the reveal of the true motive. Yeah, I mean, there's a decent amount of, like, there was a couple chuds that we found, but most people in the comments are pretty reasonable. Isn't it interesting, though, how, like, blatantly brain dead the average transphobe whose comments we'll read are? Like, they're so stupid. Like, transphobia really is the ideology of the ignorant and the outright intellectually incompetent. It really is. It's like being transphobic is a stopgap for stupid people to feel like they're smart enough to have an opinion on a somewhat socio-politically complex issue. That is the reality of it. They're dumb people, and hate is the only thing they can fill their gap in knowledge with without putting in the work to learn. And they're very lazy, low-effort people that do not want to learn anything new. God. I don't really have much else to say about this, other than I highly recommend you go check out Leah Passanidi. Apparently she's live right now.
Because they'll just never come back on your show. They'll just ignore your existence for forever.
Look at that. I just dropped a like on the stream. Why? Look at this. Look at this. 85 people watching, only 35, including me, have hit the like button. Why? If any of you watching Leah Passanidi right now are also watching me, hit the like button on her stream, and mine for that matter. Look at that. Make the number go up. Make this number go up by making this number go up. That's how it works. You hit this button, and it makes this number go up. And when this number goes up, more people can hit this button to make this number go up more, which lets more people hit this button to make it go up more. Hit the button. Go hit the button, chat. Anyway, very good video. Good channel. Link will be down below in the description at the very top for the original video, so please consider sending some support, like I said. And of course, if you want to see more from me and support the channel, consider liking and commenting on my video as well. It really does mean a lot and helps a ton. And of course, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications if you haven't already, so that YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos in the future. And if you want to see more from me on other platforms, you can do so by following my social medias linked down below in the description. I particularly recommend that you follow or join my fan Discord. It's the main hub of my community and fan base. In fact, I host gaming events, call-in streams, watch parties, and or movie nights once a week there. So if you want to make sure you're part of everything and you miss nothing, that's the place to be. And finally, if you want to support me directly, financially, you can afford it and you feel like it, and you want to help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub to someone else on my website, xanderhall.com/live. Or perhaps support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or perhaps support me by buying some merch if you feel like it, through the Streamlabs link down below in the description. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you so much for watching, as always, and as always, have a good one.